discuss an important topic in C programming, which is string manipulation. Strings are one of the most commonly used data types when we are working with text. Whenever we want to store a name, a word, a sentence, a message, or any collection of characters, we use strings. For example, if I want to store the name computer science, I need a string. Similarly, words such as hello, engineering, programming, and palindrome are all examples of strings. So in this session, first we will understand what a string is. After that, we will discuss three important string-based problems. The first problem is string manipulation using string functions. The second problem is checking whether a string is a palindrome or not. And the third problem is counting vowels, consonants, digits, and spaces in a string. So let us begin with the basic concept of a string. First of all, what exactly is a string? In C programming, a string is a sequence or collection of characters. For example, consider the word hello. Here H is one character, E is one character, L is one character, another L is one character, and O is one character. When these characters are arranged together, they form a string. In C, we don't have a separate primitive data type called strings, like we have int, float, or char. Instead, a string is represented using a character array. For example, we can declare a character array to store a string. The important point here is that a string always ends with a special character called the null character. The null character is represented as \0. This null character tells the C program where the string ends. For example, if we have the string hello, internally we can think of this HELLO and finally \0. It is a null character. So, although there are 5 visible characters in the word HELLO, the character actually needs one additional position for the null character. This is a very important concept when working with strings in C. Now, once we have a string, we may need to perform different operations on it. For example, we may want to know how many characters are present in the string, or we may want to copy one string into another string. Sometimes we may want to join two strings together, and sometimes we may want to compare two strings. To perform these common operations, C provides several predefined string functions. These functions are available through the string header file, which is string.h. In our first problem, we are going to discuss 4 important string functions. They are strlen, strcpy, strcat, and strcmp. Let us understand them one by one. Now let's move to our first problem. The purpose of this program is to demonstrate some basic operations that we can perform on strings. We are going to work with 2 input strings and another string that will be used for copying. The 4 operations demonstrated are string length, string copying, string concatenation, and string comparison. Let us understand each operation conceptually. Here we are showing the first problem. It starts with the #include stdio.h header file. It is first standard input and output operations. Then #include string.h. This is used for string handling functions. Then we started the main function. After that, we declared the character array. Here we declaring 3 strings, str1, str2, str3 with the array size of 100. After that, we get string 1 and string 2. Then we performing the string manipulation operations. The first one is string length. The first operation is finding the length of a string. For this we use the strlen function. The name strlen comes from the words string length. This function tells us how many characters are present in a string. For example, suppose the string is hello. There are 5 characters, therefore the length of hello is 5. One important point is that the null character \0 is not counted as part of the string length. So if the string contains 5 actual characters, string length returns 5. This function is useful whenever we need to know the size or length of the text stored in a string. Then second operation is copying a string. For this purpose we use the strcpy function. The name strcpy means string copy. Suppose we have one string containing hello and we want to another character array to contain the same string. We can copy the contents of the first string into the second string. Here we have something called a source and a designation. The source is the string from which we are copying. The designation is the string where we want to place the copied contents. So conceptually we can say copy the source string into the designation string. After copying, both strings will contain the same characters. This is the purpose of strcpy. Then the third operation is called string concatenation. Concatenation simply means joining two strings together. For example, suppose we have first string hello, then second string world. If we concatenate them, we get hello world. So the second string is added to the end of the first string. For this operation, we use the strcat function. The name strcat means string concatenate. One important thing to remember is that the order is important. If we concatenate the second string to the first string, the contents of the second string are added at the end of the first string. So concatenation is basically used when we want to combine two strings. The fourth operation is string comparison. For this purpose, we use the strcmp function. The name strcmp means string compare. Suppose we have two strings. We want to know whether both strings contain the same characters or not. We can use strcmp for this purpose. If the two strings are equal, the function returns 0. Therefore, when we write a condition such as strcmp of string 1 and string 2 is equal to 0, we are checking whether both strings are equal. If they are equal, we can display a message saying that the strings are equal. Otherwise, we can display that they are not equal. So, the important point to remember is strcmp is used to compare two strings. And when its result is 0, the two strings are equal. So before moving to the next problem, let's quickly remember the four functions. strlen is used to find the length of a string. strcpy is used to copy one string into another. strcat is used to join two strings. And strcmp is used to compare two strings. These are some of the most commonly used string functions in C. The first, here we have the sample output for first program. Our first string is hello, then second string is world. The length of the first string is 5 and also the length of the second string also 5. After copying first string to third, it displays hello. After concatenation, it displays hello world. In the comparison operation, second and third strings are not equal. Now let's move to our second problem. The second problem is to check whether a given string is a palindrome or not. Before understanding the program, we should first understand what a palindrome means. A palindrome is a word or sequence that remains the same when it is read from the beginning to the end and from the end to the beginning. In simple words, if the original string and its reverse are the same, then the string is called a palindrome. For example, madam, M-A-D-A-M. If I read it from left to right, I get madam. If I read it from right to left, I still get madam. Therefore, madam is a palindrome. Another example is level. Forward it is level, backward it is also level. Therefore, level is a palindrome. Now let's take another example. Hello. Forward it is hello, but if we read it backward, it becomes OLLEH. These two are not the same. Therefore, hello is not a palindrome. Now the logic for checking a palindrome is actually very simple. We follow four main steps. In step 1, take the original string Step 2. Create a copy of the string. Step 3. Reverse the copied string. Step 4. Compare the original string with the reversed string. If both are equal, then the string is a palindrome. If both are different, then the string is not a palindrome. So we can remember the complete logic with one simple statement. Original string equals reversed string palindrome. Original string is not equal to reversed string, not a palindrome. Let's understand this with the example madam. Initially the original string is madam. We create a copy of it. So now we have original madam, copy also madam. Next we reverse the copy, but when we reverse madam we still get madam. Now we compare original madam then reversed madam. Both are equal. Therefore we conclude the given string is a palindrome. Now imagine that the input is computer. After reversing it we get something RETUPMOC like the original and reversed strings are different. Therefore computer is not a palindrome. So the main idea behind this problem is simply copy, reverse, then compare. Now let's move to our third problem. In this problem we are going to examine every character present in a string. Our objective is to count 4 different types of characters: vowels, consonants, digits and spaces. For example, suppose the input is hello space world 123. We need to examine every character one by one and decide what type of character it is. For example, H is a consonant, E is a vowel, L is a consonant, L is a consonant, O is a vowel. Then we encounter a space. Then we process the characters in world. Finally, we process the digits 1, 2 and 3. At the end, we will have the total count of each category. Before understanding the logic, let's remember what vowels are. The five lowercase vowels are A, E, I, O, U. The corresponding uppercase vowels are A, E, I, O, U in capital letters. Any alphabet that belongs to this group is considered a vowel. For example, A is a vowel, E is a vowel, I is a vowel, O is a vowel, U is a vowel. In capital and small also. All other alphabets are considered consonants. Now, what is a consonant? Any alphabet that is not a vowel is treated as a consonant. For example, B, C, D, F, G, H and so on are consonants. So, while processing a character, we first check whether it is an alphabet. If it is an alphabet, we then check whether it is a vowel. If it is a vowel, we increase the vowel count. Otherwise, we increase the consonant count. This is the basic logic. Next, we need to identify digits. Digits are the characters 0 to 9. So, if the current character is between 0 and 9, we consider it is a digit. For every digit we find, we increase the digit count by 1. For every digit we find, we increase the digit count by 1. For example, if the string contains 1, 2, 3, then the digit count will become 3. Finally, we need to count spaces. A space is simply the blank character between two words. For example, hello space world contains one space between the hello and world. If the input is hello space world space 1, 2, 3, there are two spaces. So every time we encounter a space character, we increase the space count. Now let's understand the most important part of this program. How do we examine every character? We use a for loop. The loop starts from the first character of the string, then it moves to the second character, then the third character, and it continues like this until it reaches the special character \0 as a null character. Remember, the null character indicates the end of the string. So the program basically says start from the first character, examine each character one by one and stop when the string ends. For every character, the program checks its category. First it checks, is this character an alphabet? If yes, it checks, it is a vowel. For every character, the program checks its category. First, it checks is this character an alphabet. If yes, it checks is it a vowel. If yes, the vowel count is increased. If not, the consonant count is increased. If the character is not an alphabet, the program checks is it a digit. If yes, the digit count is increased. Otherwise, it checks is it a space. If yes, the space count is increased. In this way, every character is classified into the appropriate category. The provided third program uses this character by character traversal and classification logic. Let's take the example hello world 1 2 3. Now let's classify the characters H consonant, E vowel, L consonant, O vowel. Then we have a space. Next we process the world, W consonant, O vowel, R consonant, L consonant, D consonant. Then we have another space. Finally, 1 digit, 2 digit, 3 digit. After processing all the characters, we get vowels 3, consonant 7, digits 3, spaces 2. This is the output shown in given program. So students, let's summarize today's entire session. Today we started with the concept of strings in C. We understood that a string is a collection of characters stored using a character array, and a C string ends with the null character \0. Then we discussed our first problem, which was string manipulation. We learned 4 important functions: strlen to find the length, strcpy to copy a string, strcat to concatenate or join strings, strcmp to compare strings. Then we discussed the concept of a palindrome. A palindrome is a string that remains the same when read forward and backward. The simple logic is copy, reverse and compare. If the original and reversed strings are the same, it is a palindrome. Finally, we discussed the third problem, where we examine every character and count vowels, consonants, digits and spaces. The main technique used here is traversing the string character by character and classifying each character. So these 3 problems give us a good foundation for understanding strings manipulation in C. Once you understand how strings are stored, how to traverse them and how to use basic string operations, you can solve many other string based programming problems. That's all for today's session. Thank you everyone. Happy coding. Thank you.